All right, guys, we're gonna be checking out a brand spanking new pistol from Kimber. This is the R7 Mako. Yes, Kimber has entered the modern world. They have a micro, compact 9mm carry pistol. They have entered that market, polymer frame. So here we go. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole of new stuff. Here we are. Let's have some fun. Yes, sir. Woo! I realized there that I neglected to put my ear pro on. So we got firsthand experience of how loud this pistol is. But anyway, welcome back everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. And this is a really cool piece of hardware we're going to be talking about. Before we get too deep in today's video, I'd like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute for supporting our videos on a regular basis. If you're wanting a career in gunsmithing technology, they are certainly a great group of people to look into. They've got distance learning programs. Check them out. If you got unused GI Bill, benefits, student aid, they're really great people to look into if you're wanting a career in gunsmithing technology. So check them out, Sonoran Desert Institute. All right, so the folks at Kimber reached out to me and wanted to know if I would be interested in checking out their new R7. And we've had this particular pistol now for several weeks before its launch. Chances are, y'all, you're probably going to see a bunch of videos popping up on this gun because, you know, I just want to acknowledge real quickly, whether we like it or not, the truth of the matter is a lot of the YouTubers get sent these guns, new pistols and things when they're coming out. So you end up getting covered up with them. And the reason they do that is because they'll usually have an embargo on the release of the pistol to a certain day. And everybody wants to release their video at the same time and get those views when people are looking for the newest and greatest thing. So guys, that's just the fact of the matter. It's not some conspiracy. It's just the fact that lots of folks get sent these guns out. So they offered to send one out for us to check out. So we agreed to check it out and let them know what we think and let you guys know what we think and everything like that. And I did not pay anything for this gun. They sent this to me for us to check out. So here we are. And in case you can't tell, what is their take on a, subcompact micro 9mm carry pistol, which is a really hot commodity right now. Lots of folks are, making small carry guns in 9mm. And the overwhelming consensus that I've seen from a lot of people is they want a double stack capacity in a very slim and compact setup, and they want to use the micro red dots, okay? This is a Crimson Trace 5 MOA CTS 1500. This particular optic came on this gun standard. It is cut for an optics, slide riding optic, obviously. One nice feature about this pistol is it does ship with a set of True Glow tritium night sights, which is a nice feature. So you get, good night sight capability right out of the box. The slide and barrel is made out of stainless, very good finish. I love the texture on the frame. It does seem like it's got a nice generous texture, but without being overwhelming. And other than the ejection, this is a completely ambidextrous ready gun out of the box. You have your mag release that can be, gotten to from either side. It works from either side, and so does your slide stop. So it is a relatively ambi gun in of itself. Rather lightweight, a 3.37-inch barrel, so rather short barrel. And talking to some of the engineers at Kimber, to be fair, they have had the luxury, so to speak, just to give credit where it's due and to be fair where we can be fair. Kimber, amongst, maybe some other companies might be just slightly late to the compact pistol game, right? But one of the nice things about being the latecomer, just to be fair, is that, you do have a chance to kind of see what everybody else is doing and you go, okay, well, what can we do to one-up them, or what can we do to sort of improve on those designs? You guys know that I'm a huge fan of the P365. I love that pistol very, very much. I carry it on a regular basis, and I'm a big fan of that handgun. And when it came out, it really opened up my eyes to how tiny a gun like that could be. So when I saw this, when I got it in, they didn't tell me what it was going to be. I was just, well, let's check it out. Open up the case. And we're all like, okay, here we go, And this is a considerable departure for Kimber. Kimber generally, at least in my view, would be traditionally known as a group of folks that, you know, tend to have more of the kind of upper end 1911s, and you know, they've kind of branched off into some really cool tactical models. They do a long slide 10mm. They've got, you know, long slide 45s. They've got slide riding sights on their 1911s now. Threaded barrels, aggressive grip textures, flared mag wells and things like that. You know, really well fitted barrels. I mean, so their 1911s are kind of what they're known for. They did put out a gun called the Solo Carry, I believe. I hope I'm not wrong there. I want to say it's called the Solo. And it was like their take on a little miniature 1911. And I believe they did those in 380 and 9mm. And those Solos are really cool guns, you know. But people want that polymer frame. They want that double stack magazine. I do believe the Solos still, you know, retain a single stack 1911 style magazine. But now, granted, in a very small, compact type of setup. Where this gun departs from the traditional Kimbers that you're going to see out there is, one, it's a glass-filled nylon polymer frame, you know, pretty much a traditional polymer material that you would expect to find on any modern polymer frame handgun. They went with a really nice aggressive grip texture, but not too overbearing. I do like that. You do have a flush fit 10-round magazine, and then you have an extended 13-round magazine. Okay, it's got a 10-round body, but with their +3 base plate on the bottom. So that's not too much of a difference, let's just say, in some of the other guns that are out there. If you buy any compact 9mm carry gun like this, or subcompact micro pistol, if you will, they're generally going to come with a flat base and then a you know, an extended one that just protrudes slightly out of the base of the pistol. So you notice when you have the +3 in there, it gives it a little bit of a bobtail frame around the bottom side, so it really fits your hand really nice, the way your hand kind of wraps around right there. So that's kind of cool. We're going to shoot this gun some more, obviously. The disassembly is pretty much exactly like any other polymer frame gun that you're going to see. I do like on the trigger, when the trigger breaks, it breaks at a nice, clean 90-degree angle. So it's a very relatively flat shoe, non-aggressive trigger. And when it breaks, it's a nice clean break with a good discernible stop. The only thing about this trigger that I'm not a humongous fan of is that when you go to, if you are gonna, like, let's just say shoot off the reset, where you'll leave the trigger squeezed back or whatever, and then just kind of let a little pressure off, it does have a very strange and hard, you know, spongy reset. Look at all that movement in the trigger. You have to kind of teach yourself to look for where that trigger resets. Yeah, that's a little weird, but with a little bit of training and time, you can just kind of break yourself of that habit and just shoot the gun in the way that you need to shoot the gun. That's just something worth mentioning. Also, another interesting feature of this pistol that I thought was a little odd at first, and well, actually, it's still odd to me, maybe just a little bit, is the location of the ejection port. You notice that unlike a lot of other pistols, especially in the subcompact micro pistol market, you'll notice that the barrel, you know, you can generally see the barrel and and check the chamber from the top of the slide, right? You know, to do a quick press check, or a lot of times you'll have a loaded chamber indicator on the top of the slide. In this case, absolutely clean lines on the top of the slide, and you've got a nice, generous ejection port. So to do a chamber check, you know, there's no loaded chamber indicator. To do a chamber check, you've got to kind of cheat it back a little bit and invert the pistol a little bit to look if you want to do a chamber check, which I find to be slightly odd. It does use an internal extractor instead of an external extractor like a lot of guns do as well. With an external extractor, when that round is chambered, you'll actually end up seeing like a little bit of red pop out where it'll show you that that has a loaded chamber. In this particular case, it makes everything nice and slim and low profile, so nothing will catch on your clothes and everything. So I think that's what they were going for. Another reason that they probably designed the ejection port with the internal extractor in the way they did is because also you don't get that extreme flash. If you're shooting the gun in low light situations, now granted, you're gonna have muzzle flash, but a lot of tiny guns, especially with certain propellants, can have a lot of flash even out of the ejection port. So that will cut back on that a little bit, and you won't get that carbon ring that gets all around your optic. You know, if you have extended shooting sessions with your you know, standard pistol, you always get that carbon ring. So with having the ejection port where they put it, that also prevents the carbon from getting back on the sight and getting that dirty carbon ring on the optic. At least that's my perspective. That's what I see. I have to think about it like, why would someone engineer it that way? And that's what I can surmise. You've got some very low profile forward cocking serrations on the pistol. Also, you've got these really nice holstering cuts up here, and that just makes it where when you put it in the holster, you know, it kind of finds that holster a little bit better instead of having this really gaudy 90-degree angle, you know, perfect edge that can catch on your clothing or catch on your holster when you're reholstering. Other than that, let's shoot it some. All right, I've got a few mags here. That's our flush fit. I'll run one of those. It does protrude out of the bottom just a tiny little bit, but that's a 10-round flush fit. All right, let's have a little bit of fun here. Yeah, we're gonna put my ears on here. Forgot to put my ears on again. I'm losing my touch here, guys. Well, we know she's loud. Sorry about that. All right. About as loud as my shirt that I'm wearing today. All right, here is our 13-shot extended base plate mag. This is real nice, easy to hold on to. Okay. Yeah, that trigger is taking me a little bit of getting used to. I'm forcing myself to try to not shoot off the reset and just sort of, you know, let her go. I will mention on the recoil impulse on this pistol, the bore axis itself is relatively high. So when you're holding this thing in your hand, you can notice that bore does ride pretty high in your hand. So that can translate to some extended muzzle flip. I would say muzzle flip that's probably a little bit worse than maybe the 365 or the Shield. But I will say the bore axis on the Shield is also relatively high. I haven't had a chance to shoot the Shield Plus yet. That's a gun that we haven't done a video on just yet, but I will get a hold of one. But the bore axis is very indicative of the Smith & Wessons, which is not a bad thing. It's just different. But I can definitely feel that recoil impulse in my hand. The gun does flip a little more. You do need to hold on to it a little bit tighter. At least that's my opinion. All right. I like it. That's cool. Another thing that I'll kind of mention about this particular gun as well is that it does have like this little tiny Rube Goldberg rail system up front here. I would imagine there's probably some type of proprietary accessory that would go on that. It's not a pick rail in the truest sense, but when you get into a tiny gun like this, you do have to sacrifice things like rails to keep the slim profile down. And also, I would imagine too, that you probably, you know, you kind of get the gun starts to bulk up a bit once you wind up adding a whole bunch of extra accessories and things. Just something worth noting here. All right. Not bad. All right, I want to mention something else too before I shoot too much more. This is another Kimber that I've got. Now you notice that this is a 1911, but it's not just any 1911. This is a 1911 that has a double stack polymer frame. This is a gun that they used to make called the BP-10. So this is not Kimber's first polymer frame gun. It's just their first polymer frame gun in a really long time. Now this one's been highly customized by the folks at Robar. And unfortunately, Robar is not in business anymore, which is terrible because they really do great work. And this particular gun, you got 14 shots of 45 ACP in your hand. So it is a double stack 1911, which is really cool. I really wish that Kimber still made this gun because it's fantastic. It is one of my favorite 1911s. You know, it's got a nice fat profile. It's a real easy gun to hold on to, a real easy gun to shoot. The trigger is just absolutely amazing. Anyway, I digress, but these guns are really neat and it's not something you see every day. It's not a very common gun anymore. There's not a lot of them around. They even did the Robar texture on the base plate of the magazines for me. The texture that they went with on the R7 Mako is a little less aggressive than the Robar texture, but very similar. the shape of the texturing is relatively similar. So I think it's really nice what they did. You do have texturing here on the front of the grip, on the back strap, so lots of texture through and throughout. Relatively generous trigger guard, so if you have glove fingers, you can certainly, you know, have room to get a glove finger in there. All in all, really cool setup. You know, we wanted to have a look at this one. I'm gonna shoot these mags here, and I'll take a few longer range shots. I will admit I am still relatively new to shooting red dot sights. You know, I definitely am not shooting them terrible, but they are kind of new on a regular basis for me to be using on different guns, but we're trying to get behind it here. I'm gonna shoot a couple more mags, have some fun here. Pretty cool stuff. All right. If I can just get around that trigger reset, I'd be able to shoot this gun exceptionally well. I kind of like the trigger reset on the M&P. Like, it's just really, really nice and crisp, you know, but definitely not bad. It's probably just more of my shooting habits than it is the intrinsic ability of what the gun can do. I will say that trigger breaks ridiculously clean. I mean, and that's pretty typical for Kimber. I mean, I've always known Kimber triggers to be pretty freaking good out of the box. And this gun is definitely no different. And I do like the direction that it breaks in. You get a nice flat 90-degree break, so that's great. I'm sure a lot of you are gonna be very happy about that. All right, she is tiny. Oh, soda geyser, look at that. Not bad. Cleared this, oh, I got one soda hanging down there. Look, the soda's right below there. Let's see if I can knock the bottom of that soda out there. All right, we're gonna take a couple of adventurous shots. I got a gong out at 80 yards. I mean, I know this is a tiny little gun, but let's see if we can sling a few down there. Oh boy, I'm gonna regret this. Not bad. If I can hold it still. It's a tiny gun, for sure. Very snappy. But that's definitely, you know, a type of characteristic that's just gonna be indicative of these types of guns, you know. They're small, they're compact, and I guess I say it all the time, but I'll say it again just for those of you that may not have tuned in some of the other videos, but I mean, there's no such thing as a free lunch in physics, right? You know, the heavier the gun is, the less felt recoil you're gonna get. It's gonna be easier to shoot. All of those nice things that make things much more rigid and controllable. The lighter the gun is, sure, the easier it is to conceal, but then you're gonna have to contend with a little bit more of a recoil impulse than you would probably have out of a similarly sized gun that weighed a little more. One other feature that I actually failed to mention is that one unique feature, not unique, but distinctive feature that this gun has, is actually uses a stainless steel chassis in here too, inside of the polymer frame. Very similar to, let's just say, a Smith & Wesson M&P pistol. You know how the M&Ps have that really rigid frame? You know, super, super rigid, same type of thing. So that does equate to some excellent accuracy. You get a lot less flex in the frame. You get the benefits of a steel frame, but with the weight of a polymer frame. And I think that that's a marriage of those components that is quite well suited. I mean, you do get a slightly heavier gun as a result when you add that steel block in there, but you get the rigidity that comes along with what you would expect out of a steel pistol. So really cool gun, and I appreciate Kimber sending one of these out for us to check out. A really cool piece of hardware. Hopefully we covered all the points, and let me know if there's something you think I missed, or if you'd like for us to do a revisit. Maybe we could bench rest this thing and do some formal accuracy testing. That's one thing I didn't really have time to do today. It is, in case you can't tell, it's 100 degrees out here and sweltering, And our ammunition supply is not exactly as good as it could be. I don't have the variety of ammo I'd like to test out of this gun. We're using the Bellom 124 grain ammo because that's really about all I can get right now. We will try to revisit this in a future video, possibly with some different carry loads. If you've seen some of our previous videos, you know that we like to test a wide variety of different ammunition and we like to test different carry loads, but that ammo has been very hard to get as of late, as many of you know. So I hope you'll understand that we're not trying to shortchange you on the testing. We just do not have that ammo at our disposal at the present time, but we will in the future. We'll hold on to this gun and we'll probably revisit with a little bit more of a more diversified ammo test. Maybe even a long-term test where we maybe shoot like 1,000 rounds in one video like we did with the 365, just so we're putting it through a much more thorough and proper test. This is meant to be a first look, and hopefully you guys can understand this is new for me too, and I'm sure it's new for y'all as well because you're probably seeing it for the first time as well. So really cool stuff. All right, one more mag. That's our 10-shot flush fit. Good stuff. Heck yeah. Right. All right. Guys, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Many more videos on the way. We hope you enjoyed it. I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters, those of you who purchase man cans over on the website. Also, go over to Ballistic Ink and pick yourself up a snazzy t-shirt. All the funds we earn off of that type of stuff goes right back to supporting our videos. Thank you very much. More on the way. We'll see you soon.